the mic on that, so they probably heard us. But you know what? That's fine. That's fine. No one was talking. Nothing was happening. This is Comiconvos brought to you by Izzy and the Incredible Hulk.
You can't see him all barely.
Yeah,
His name was being covered up.
Yep. Yeah, we got a little toy present for my nephew. So yeah, and there's my brother joining us from downstairs. Oh my god, it's so good to the cord. Down, free guys. What's up? Yeah, they got this for my nephew. It's nice Hulk Ragnarok, I believe.
Yeah.
He actually looks cooler than Hulk does in Hulk Ragnarok. Am I wrong?
I just don't like Mark Ruffalo, honestly, as Hulk.
He doesn't look like Mark Ruffalo.
That's what I said. This was he looks better already.
Yeah. I don't mind. I
okay,
preferred when they did
never...
the Lou Ferrigno base back in the other one. I thought that was the best looking Hulk.
Oh yeah.
Except for musculature, I still think the original Hulk looks like the Hulk's supposed to look body wise. Like
you're talking about the first one?
Yeah, the very first. He looks like just this massive, bulging, massive muscles. Okay, so we gotta turn the saturation down probably. That don't look too bad though.
No, that's good.
And if you guys, didn't notice the title, we're talking about a bunch of stuff today, but definitely The Mandalorian, because I finally caught up. I finally got into Disney Plus, because we had to consolidate our ESPN Plus and our Hulu Plus, or our Hulu, regular Hulu. But apparently, like, we signed up for ESPN Plus.
You have to, because it's part of the bundle.
It's not just that. Well, if you buy the bundle, you do, but we had already had ESPN Plus.
Oh, you did have ESPN
right,
already.
And so we were trying to switch over Hulu and ESPN Plus into the packet. You know what I mean? That way we're not losing whatever counts.
You had.
No, we had both, which is why it was taking me so long to get it. And the real reason it took so long is apparently the email address they had us under was like @.co.
Oh,
so it was the wrong email address. Yeah, we had to like call and get the emails resorted and everything because we couldn't even password reset. You know what I mean? It's going to the wrong email address, which I don't know how that, how they confirmed in the first place if that was the case. Maybe I'm just crazy. I think it was done through the phone though, that's why. But yeah, so I finally got to it. Dude, The Mandalorian was pretty lit. I liked it.
The third episode was really good. Second episode was pretty good.
I really liked the second episode.
Yeah.
I think it's just because it's like that dichotomy of the Mandalorian and then Baby Yoda.
Yeah, I felt like it was more just a filler episode because it was more of just like because they were like, "Fuck, can't do anything now. Now I gotta go hunt these guys down, get my parts back."
But it's also necessary for a lot of things. One, it's world building, right?
Yeah, no,
so they gotta show what's going on. But more to the point, it's plot building, right? If you don't have any time where the Mandalorian's connecting with Baby Yoda, then there's no reason for him to go back and save him later.
Yeah.
Similarly, what else was it that they covered there that was important as far as filler stuff? There was something that came to mind and now I just forgot it. But it was definitely in between thing, but it's supposed to Force stuff with the baby.
Oh yeah.
Because otherwise that you cut that episode out or you cut out that plot line of the Jawas, then you don't get any of that. You know what I mean? There's no reason for Baby Yoda to ever show his thing, to show he's special, etc. So like it's definitely not a intensive plot point, and I think that's why I like it more. Or that's why it's probably my favorite episode, is because it's character building and world building as opposed to just action, right? Like, so you take the first episode, right, and we open up in the scene, it's action. It's immediate action, basically. Like, you don't even get any... There's very little context. A lot of this Mandalorian show, I feel like, assumes that you know what's going on in the Star Wars universe. They assume you know about Beskar armor. They assume, you know what I mean, you know about Jawas and stuff like that. They just kind of assume some things are kind of standard. Like, you know what Mandalorians are, you know what these things are. When in truth, like, even long-time standing fans of the show might not exactly know what a Mandalorian is. Yeah. They know Boba Fett, and they recognize the helmet and the style and statue, but, like, and that's also why I like the third episode too. I mean, all three of them do it well, but they like show the background of Mandalorian culture.
Yeah, you know what's a good show that you should watch if you really want to know more about the Mandalorians? That really
Rebels.
Rebels did a really good job of doing
I know a decent
them.
about amount, but I'm just saying in general, I would say like
well, that's the same.
Most people likes. Yeah,
unless they watch
but
that TV show.
Rebels is. It's funny that you say that too, because I'm going back through since Disney Plus. I'm going back through watching all Clone Wars.
Yeah, I'm gonna do that, but I have to watch it in the correct order. Because I guess there is because if you watch the episodes,
yeah, they're not linear.
They're not actually linear at all. So you have to there is on. I actually took a screenshot.
Yeah, there's a big just like comics. There's a whole big
watch it.
Yeah, there's a whole.
And I don't want to watch it like that way. Watch all the way as how they released it. I want to watch it correctly so that I can actually understand.
But that's how they're
gonna come back and they're gonna be like, oh well, hey, remember what happened on episode 1? Bro, we're on episode 30, right?
But the thing about it is sometimes it's not meant to be watched in the order, because that's the thing. They're sending you through in chronological order.
Oh yeah. No, that's
but some things aren't meant to be watched that way. The original Star Wars series isn't meant to be watched in chronological order. It's a really shitty series actually if you watch it in chronological order from 1 to 9. It's awful. It starts off on a shitty note.
That one's so funny because people are always in disagreement with that one. Because there's people who are like, no, you need to watch it 1 through all the way through 9, and people are like, no, you actually need to watch the old ones first.
Have to watch the old ones first. Because if not, then the reveal of Vader, none of those things in the second half of the series make any sense if you watch the first 3 movies first. If you watch the first, that's one of the biggest parts of Star Wars is the Darth Vader. Luke, I am your father. You would immediately know he's his father because the end of episode 3 shows him turning into Darth Vader, shows the babies being born, shows that Luke and Leia are twins. It removes 90% of the fulfilling moments from the second half. So that one, I can see. I mean, I guess I could see why some people would say that, but if you go by a purely movie and storytelling aspect, there's no real good argument to be made to watch them in chronological order.
Either those movies never would have happened, and then that's another thing too. They weren't expecting to do.
Right, they never thought they were going to do 3. Yeah, or another 3 afterwards. So 9. That's the only thing 9 has going for it is that it's chronologically later, so they can make those changes now. But that was the problem with 1 through 3 is that. It was great that they did it, right? That's what made some of 1 through 3 great. Even though 1 is not the best or whatever, and 3, people might not like that second trilogy the best. Mm-hmm. The good moments in it are the callbacks to the original trilogy, the callbacks to C-3PO being built by Anakin, to, you know what I mean? Those things make both movies fuller, in the same way that Rogue One makes the original trilogy's plot holes kind of disappear.
Well, that's why I love that movie.
Oh yeah, I love Rogue One. A lot of people were bitching about it. I love Rogue One. And I believe that Rogue One should be watched, should be watched pre the original series because of the way the spoilers work. Mm-hmm. Not because of chronological order, because sometimes it is better to watch or read in chronological order, especially comic books. Comic books are super like that because there's reveals and crossovers and stuff. But for these movies now, and that's why I think Rebels would be a good watch like that too, because Rebels and Clone Wars also cross, and so that's why I think it is a good idea in Rebels to watch it in the chronicle or in the.
Well, they introduced new things too, like the Inquisitor.
Oh yeah, all kinds of shit. But that being my point is, it works because it's like a TV show, and it's more similar to that comic book style of these are both released kind of not at the same time, but in tandem. They mesh, you know what I mean? Very much like, I can't remember what Batman run it is, but there's one Batman run by Scott Snyder where, literally you have to jump from one page in the middle of one comic book to another comic book and then jump back. Because it literally states this happens on Wednesday at 6:55 p.m. and this one happened at 6:45 p.m. and then the next scene is at 7:06 p.m. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But that original trilogy or for Star Wars, like I said, is just the way they wrote the movies later. For instance, if Rogue One made a lot of allusions to who Darth Vader really was, then it wouldn't be good to put in front of the original trilogy, because it would ruin parts of the storytelling aspects of the original trilogy. But it doesn't. It just shows Darth Vader killing a bunch of dudes. Yeah, which is great. It doesn't ruin anything. You can put that anywhere in the not the movie, but that scene specifically, you pretty much put anywhere in the Star Wars universe, even post 6, and it really wouldn't be
Or you'd be
out of
fine
place.
because as long as they don't actually say his real, like his actual true name is, nobody, like I said,
Right, no one
if you
knows
didn't
who he is.
know Star Wars, you would never know that was actually
Right.
until you watch the prequels.
Right, which is what I love about that. That they made those, as much as we bitch about the original, Phantom Menace, they did the prequels justice, man. They did a lot of work on those, and
Yeah.
even as much as they're
it was just
bitching
more
about,
of an answer to because people were like, well, who the hell is Darth Vader?
oh,
I mean, you guys left
the
us
thing,
on such a.
the fucked up part is like all that stuff. Even though they never originally planned to make all the movies, Lucas wrote the story for 1 through 6 all at once.
Mhm.
Like he knew who Anakin was. He knew Anakin's past, Qui-Gon Jinn, a lot of those different things.
Well, that
Some of it was
the help
pulled
of a
from-
lot of people.
some of the
he
he
likes
pulled
to
it.
take credit for a
Oh,
lot of
for
things,
sure.
and like
For sure.
you had to
Just-
help Bradley.
just like every
like
creator.
you're the guy that made Han Solo green. I'm pretty sure there's somebody said that. I don't think we should do him.
No, he definitely got suggestions, but the
yeah.
basis of the story.
Yeah,
And obviously, the original basis of the story, like they talk about it, everything changes in production and as a thing. Because the original story is far, far different from what we ended up with.
yeah.
They talk about it, his original plot.
Things, yeah.
But that being said, he did have a large portion of that story, the main points, not the details, little things like side characters, but the main plot points in that Anakin was this, or and maybe not even the character Anakin, but the character who became Anakin. Right.
Okay. Yeah.
And that's what people forget is like the stories take different forms. Like even writing this one, I wrote the story with a filler name. I didn't know what to call the dude, the main character, so the dude's called Juan for now.
Well, even when he was finished with it, or like almost about done, I think himself was like, "This is shit, guys."
I knew that, yeah. Which is fine. A lot of creators
but
do that.
I think he had help from
sure.
Steven Spielberg was another one that really helped him a lot on this.
They were pretty good friends.
They had a bet too, or something. I don't know. Can't remember what it was.
There's
about.
a whole thing. There's like if you want to dive into Star Wars mythos and like stuff, we could be there's a whole culture built out of that now. Star Wars is definitely one of the bigger fandoms.
Well, again, it's just another one of those things where it can be an ever expanding thing.
Right, it's its own universe.
Yeah,
and very much. But even comparatively to like Marvel and DC, which have actually been around longer.
Yeah,
I'd say the Star Wars universe is a very, very big title, which makes sense. I mean, it's its own universe, just like any Marvel or DC title. They're huge, never
There's
ending.
nothing like it either. I mean, there's Star Trek, but Star Trek is not.
It's funny how people compare them, but they're entirely the way that was described. You have space action, space politics.
Yeah, that's what I
The new Star Treks are space action, and they stole a lot.
Maybe
from
the
Star Wars,
prequels are a little on that borderline going there too, because that's
they
the
do,
only thing I didn't like about it too.
I didn't mind it too much.
There was too much of like them doing.
There was too much
of them like arguing about. So I'm like, I kind of like when you're little, you're like, I fucking don't know what the hell's going on here.
I mean, even if you know, even as adult, knowing what's going on, like some of those scenes, so like. A lot of it's in the aesthetics too, right? Like, so the episode 2 of The Mandalorian, right? That's very much in the same area of that. It's world building, it's context building. There's not a lot of action except for the Rhino fight. You know what I mean? It's blast some Jawas, but it's cool. They sprinkled it, and that being the point is it's about how it's done. If it's done well, you almost don't notice it. It's quick. It's kind of moves through. It has a little action here and there, something going on to keep your attention and interest. The problem with the prequels, especially Phantom Menace, was that they had those scenes in a super long movie, and they didn't do them justice. Like, they didn't do them right to move them along. They were long drawn out a lot of the times. Like, they weren't interesting. Even with things like, in the background, like the E.T. characters from Steven Spielberg, or, you know what I mean, different stuff like that. Even with those, it wasn't enough to keep your attention on the scene. Whereas, when lasers and lightsabers are flashing around a million miles a second, it's pretty easy to pay attention.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's hard to lose focus. But it's about being done correctly. Mm-hmm. So, like, for example, the Mandalorian, how they do one of the best parts in episode 2, right, is him sitting around the fire after he got attacked by those guys. And Baby Yoda hops up out of his crib, and he's coming up, and the music kind of peaks up, and it's... And then suddenly, now he just picks his ass up, and you can see it's like a puppet, and put him down. Which I also, can we talk about that? I love the combination of effects in this.
Oh, you mean the CGI?
The old school and the puppetry. It's
like
combo.
They still do that.
It's apps. Well, the thing is, like, I'm not glad they still do it, but I'm glad it's a combo, because I wouldn't be happy with just puppetry. but I wouldn't be happy with all CGI either. Or at least I don't think it would feel as much like Star Wars. Definitely feels like Star Wars. And honestly, they look better sometimes. Like,
well, the puppetry is getting way
I mean, they're
better
getting
than it
advanced
was
too.
back in the
That's
80s
true.
and because I was watching the Dark Crystal. Have you watched the whole series of the new?
Not
Dark
the new
Crystal?
one, no.
Oh, you should watch it. It's good.
I'm sure
it's a
pretty
prequel to the first movie. Pretty
that'd
much
be interesting.
of how this.
The thing is, prequels are so good. It's all about how they're done. We talked just like
no,
we were
but
talking
it was
about.
done very well.
Yeah,
I thought.
I'm guessing they just give you like.
It's the same thing, like where they're kind of like they're answering questions
yes,
like that
and that's
never
what
got answered.
prequels.
And
Yes,
they did a good job of like
that's awesome.
how the skis came from like another universe,
right?
And like
then
tricked Algra into like giving them full control of them. It gets pretty So you're like, okay, this is
that's really cool, and that's how it should be done. That's what a prequel is supposed to be, is an answering to those questions, because you can't change what's already there.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? You've already established the universe, and this is prior to that. So that establishment, you either have to lead into it, which is the other
Gelfling tribes. There's more Gelflings.
That's
and
cool.
They're like, so they were a thriving society until they came, and because in the movie you're just like, this is a desolate world.
Oh no, and a lot of
but
it's funny
how
shows
place.
It's funny how shows end up doing that a lot on different things.
They did a good job. I liked it. The puppetry was honestly a lot really good from still their style, but like a lot just better. Honestly, just
like you said, it's been many years.
CGI here and there,
right? And I think
there's this one scene you got to see. They did, I don't know how they did it, but they did the scene where they're like on a carriage and it's like rolling at the same time, but they have puppets also on the carriage while this is moving. But the carriage is all done in CGI, but the puppets you can tell are not CGI. So you're like, oh fuck, how did they? That's pretty cool. Just again, this is like
it's one of those movie things. That one they probably have them on a green screen with some.
Right, so that's what I was thinking too. But again, you're like, oh, that's cool that they even did that.
No, it's really cool. And like you said, the technology now makes it so they can do those things more effectively. Because now they can, but whereas before you'd have to actually like stuff them in a carriage and have them poke their hands out or whatever. Now they can like cover them with a green screen cloth with just the puppet, sticking out on a background.
Yeah, so it was cool.
That's awesome.
You have to check it out whenever you get a chance.
On top of the million other.
I just had
things.
to watch it because I'm a huge Dark Crystal fan. So
I really enjoyed it. I like Jim Henson, not necessarily the Dark Crystal itself, but like in general, I love Jim.
I don't know what it was. I think it was. It's just really dark.
I think like it's and for puppets don't get dark.
Yeah,
and that's what the Dark Crystal brought was dark puppets.
Yeah,
you don't get dark puppets. You get like funny
Simpsons,
puppets. Like Crank Yankers or Sesame Street, but you don't get dark. No, God,
I was gonna say,
dear God, no.
I was gonna say, actually, did you know they came back? Right?
Yeah.
I watched the first episode.
They're not bad. I always thought they were pretty fun.
My friend or my cousin was a huge fan of them. He just loved them. He said he didn't really laugh about he laughed about the prank calls, but he said what he really laughed about was what's happening in the background.
There's always some weird crazy shit, like some dude's like robbing a bank or like covering himself in barbecue sauce or some bull crap. Like you never know. It's just something going on in the background while they're talking on the phone. It's like, yeah.
That's why it's a good show, because they're not just like sitting on the phone and just talking.
If it was just them on the phone, the puppets and the interaction visually is what makes the scene even more. And when it syncs up to the call.
Oh yeah, when they're actually talking about it.
And it's like, so do you need a fish? And he just pulls out like a swordfish. Like, no, okay, this shit. And that's comedy. You know what I mean? That's like visual telling of comedy on top of the. It's really interesting. It's good stuff. Like it really is important for me that the medium is balanced. I was talking about it with the rig stuff like earlier as buying dabs or whatever, and I'm like, the best thing about this place is you guys have consistent quality.
Mm-hmm.
Some places you go 1 week, you get the dopest stuff you ever smoked, and then the next week, garbage, garbo. And it's the same for media. You can't, like, with very few exceptions, you have to have an overall decent product. And then little sparks of goodness here and there. You know what I mean? Like, but overall, everything needs to look clean and professional, sound good, and not like. Oh.
There.
I can't get by. I have to get a sign. So, that's better. toy again, so that that's
sorry. Here you go.
because that's what was who's out there. I can hear my nephew, so we'll have that in the corner so he can't find it. But yeah, it has to be an overall good quality. You know what I mean? Like whatever it might be, and then if it has good pieces that stand out, that's what makes it special and like impressive. But for whatever reason, like nowadays, things coming out like are getting those keys, especially on like Netflix and Disney Plus, like these pre-made to package video stuff. It's doing a lot of good work. Like I don't know how television's gonna last. You know what I mean? Like,
oh, you mean like cable?
Yeah, like I mean, I guess they're just gonna switch styles, right?
Why wouldn't Xfinity just go all streaming?
Right.
Why wouldn't they? Right.
I guess technology availability would keep it where it's at. Like if you can't afford
I think
internet,
the thing is that that's probably the one. They're probably if they were to switch over to
but what happens
all streaming based, they probably see that they lose more users than they would gain because the cable. There's a lot of people who don't have fast internet. And there's a lot of people who still don't know how to use it.
That's also true. Like we take it as a modern like kind of give me, but a lot of people are just like without knowledge, which sucks. And hopefully, I can't remember who it is that's trying to get like free world Wi-Fi set up, but somebody is like Elon Musk or somebody.
Yeah, there's you should watch Silicon Valley.
Oh no, I remember who it was. It's the guy who owns Virgin.
Oh, okay.
David Branson.
Yeah,
he's always doing random
let's
shit
talk
like
about
that.
The Silicon Valley. They're doing this their season like they're done after this, but they're talking about free internet and through this network they're trying to create, and on the way they're trying to do it is they're trying to even do it through like Wi-Fi, through like other like technologies like a phone, anything that just can connect to Wi-Fi that can be their network.
Right.
And this would be a free, and it's a pretty cool concept that
I really like it. I think it's an interesting concept. I think it's a good concept, and honestly, in today's society and modern society, let's call it modern. Internet's important. It's almost necessary. You know what I mean? Like half the crap I get from my job's on the internet. Half my bills come through the internet. Important announcements about weather and crap, like just everything in general is starting to be done on the internet, and it's almost to a point where it needs to be a public commodity.
Yeah, no, some people said that it's should be an amenity at this point, free amenity to everyone.
Then again, so should food and water, but when are we gonna get that? We'll list of order of importance. We'll go with air, food, then water.
They're just, I mean, because it's one of those things that like. Honestly, you need it at this point in time. You need the internet because it just everything's done through it. There's just communications done much faster.
It just makes everything work nowadays.
Yes,
everything works on the internet.
And a lot of things are being switched over to just all online kind of things, and you can no longer just call somebody and be like, "Hey, can you guys do this for me?" No, you have to do this.
Yeah, like half of the time you can't even call him. And mail is just like they literally just eliminated at my job some like mail-in checks. Now you either get direct deposit or you have to, or no, you can't pick up. But like they're you know what I mean. There's only certain options, and they're not all out there. But if you're watching this, you have access to the internet, so good for you. And keep watching us on here for sure. We've also I wanted to mention just while we're here, we've been doing our weekly posts again now for a little while. I think we're like a month-ish in, and plenty more to come. I'm still not done with the yearly posts for next year. I'm working on it just slowly. I think I got 100 left.
Oh, well,
it's not too bad.
Not too bad.
I'm hoping to get it done before the start of next year, so that at the start of this next year we can just publish them for a year, and then we'll publish whatever extra we have on like Patreon and other stuff. And we're gonna start doing a week ahead content again. Well, before we did 2 or 3 days, so we're switching. It'll be easier for us to do a week ahead. I don't know why, but it is. It's just easier. And that'll start, I think, sometime in December, like the first week of December.
Okay.
So for people who want to subscribe to the Patreon, we're gonna do that. We got videos coming up on YouTube every week, pretty much. I'm trying to get all of the videos up, but that'll take a while. Even if I did 2 videos a week, that would take 50 weeks, 40 weeks. We got 91 episodes or so, give or take. It's 92.
Yeah, 92.
So I mean, it wouldn't be so bad, but it'd take a while. Maybe if I start doing real good uploads and get this internet working again, because it's really tough to do uploads with the internet as bad as it is.
Yeah, it's much better than it was yesterday, but it is a little like, yeah, so you'll do that.
Yeah,
freezes for a second, and then goes.
At least it's just stuttering instead of just like really low. The
Yesterday
other day,
was really like
800.
low res. Didn't look, yeah.
800. Goddamn. It's still not what I'm paying for, but hey, you know what? Yeah, shrug. I was gonna say you get what you pay for, but I'm not. Besides that, we talked a bit about the Mandalorian. Any pieces you wanted to cover specifically about it? Fun parts.
I'm just excited for some Baby Yoda merchandise.
I mean, I'm excited. I want to see more of the story, man. I want to see what's going. Like, what are they gonna do
I did
now?
like third episode though. Now, oh yeah, that's what I'm saying. Because like now that the whole thing's been done,
right?
It kind of feels like it's kind of been concluded. But you're like, well, no, what are they gonna do? At
Like,
this
I
point?
know what they're gonna do. Like, because there's only logical places you can go. Like, one, the guild leader's not dead, because we saw that he got saved by the Beskar in his chest pocket.
Oh yeah.
Two, we never saw the old
where
guy.
Is he from again? What movie
That
is he
guy?
from? He's from an original Star Wars movie, isn't he?
I think he's from.
the-
Isn't he from Rogue One?
Isn't he the? No, he's from.
Oh, from an original. That's not Lando. So I don't know if, unless. Yeah, that's not Billy D.
I feel like he looks like somebody I've seen before.
Should we
in
look?
that
Should we
movie.
check and see, guys? Let's check and see. Let's look at the actors, because you know what? This is what we're talking about today. So let's go in depth on the
Oh,
Mando.
they finally finished the Jedi Fallen Order.
How was it?
The ending was pretty good. I will say I'm glad I did save some money on it because they said they're not releasing any like extra content or anything like, which kind of sucks. 'Cause you're like, damn, I spent. Other people have spent $60, but I only spent $52.
At the same time, I'm down with that. I hate that they always do that. Why is there always extra down? I bought a game. I want the whole game.
Oh
I
yeah.
want to pay $40 extra.
Oh well, no, I mean if they give you a complete game, that's fine with me. But like now that I'm done with it, I'm like I literally like I am done with like I 100% the whole thing. So it's like that's it. I can't play no more unless I really want to like.
Right, which is for those kinds of games, you definitely don't want to buy them new at $50, $60 because that's unless it depends on how much it is though. Like the hours you. Put in
that's what I said. So at that point, I put it in my head like, well, it did take me what like 3 weeks.
The way I do it personally is I equate it to a movie. So if I paid $50 whatever dollars, right? So let's say I paid $60 for that. I pay on average, because I don't have the monthly movie pass or whatever. On average, you pay $10 to $13 for a movie, give or take.
Mm-hmm.
So that means if I get 6 movies worth of time out of it, which is hour and a half, 2 hours. So if I get 12 hours of time, 12 to 18 hours of good playtime where I'm enjoying myself, I don't feel like the game's a piece of shit or I'm stuck on something hard that I'm not enjoying. Sometimes I get stuck and enjoy it. Then I got my money's worth.
Yeah, which was good. Storytelling was good. I love that it connected to the Star Wars universe, but it was kind of like in the end, it was its own thing. It wasn't trying.
Right, it didn't rely.
It wasn't trying to be like, oh hey guys, you need to probably watch this now
to know this. Yeah, no, it's like
kind of like
we'll mention this guy and we'll mention this guy.
They might, yeah.
Well, no, I just mean that's how they usually do this.
Yeah.
It's like we'll mention this and we'll mention that, so we're in the same universe. Like we'll talk about the Jawas or the Mandalorian. That's kind of how the Mandalorian does.
Yeah,
is like
about Yoda.
So that kind of stuff. It's like we're showing you're in the same universe without giving you any need to look into specifically. Like you don't need to know who Yoda is to make that comment work, right? Their comment isn't like, well, Yoda's going to blah blah blah, or, you know what I mean? Where it's specifically that you know something about Yoda to understand.
It was more of because we were at a Jedi temple and he was remembering some of the training that the younglings would go through to this temple. Right. And he's like, "Oh, I remember this room. This is because
it was Quanon, right? It's supposed to be
Master Yoda.
Mr. Yoda,
Master Yoda would take us into that big crystal with. He just explained what the crystal would do.
Yeah, which is cool, and it's nice because it gives backstory without changing or any.
So it was cool. I liked it. It ended off on the point where like they kind of even said, "Now what, guys?" They literally just said, "That was like, oh, that's cool." So now it kind of was open to whatever. So this movie takes place literally like right after. Well, not after Order 66, because he's like a Padawan still, so he's probably like maybe 6. So it's probably another 10 years. maybe 10, 13 years later after that. Now he's much older.
Because this is Quanon, right? The one they did the comic about, right?
Yeah, I think they did a comic.
Yeah, it's
on
called The Last Padawan.
Yeah, that's even with one of the characters that's in the game.
That's
it's not the main character. It's
fine.
It's the
but
side
I think that's really cool.
But it explains a little bit more of a story.
Because I remember reading about that guy, and I can't remember if he's EU or not, or if he's original to Disney's.
Who the main
Quanon? Yeah, I don't remember if he's EU canon or not.
Yeah, this.
Yeah, let's look that up too. I want to know.
He's so like I said, they kind of left it open to just be whatever happens after that. So that's cool. So maybe they will do a second game.
I think they might. I mean, if they gave him his own, Canon The Last Padawan Jarvis and Star Wars Rebels. That's where he's originally from.
Oh, okay. See, I thought I remember.
So that would mean he is from EU because Rebels predates the Disney acquisition.
Yeah, the only thing they said, the things that count is Rebels, Clone Wars, all the comics that have come out after that year. And
which we knew, because why would you release something that wasn't canon?
I think, and just all the original Star Wars movies is all they've counted. And they did another comic on that one commander. He was like has a blue face. He's from the
I know the one.
Empire. He was like a low nobody, and then he became this big top guy. I forget his name. He was actually, I guess, a character that was created before, and then now they brought him back though. And now it's that comic came out.
See, I'm even gonna. Yeah, Werner Herzog is that one guy. I think is this the guy Carl Weathers? I think this is him.
Oh, the Terminator?
There he is. Him. Carl Weathers. Let's see what else he's for. Predator, Happy Gilmore, Rocky 4.
There we go. That's what you're seeing.
Mandalorian. Oh, he's in all kinds of shit.
He's the guy,
But I wanted to see if he was in something else Star Wars related.
Yes, not.
Probably not. But he's just really visible. The one I think I recognize him from is Happy Gilmore.
Him? Yeah, I've always remembered him from Predator because that scene where him and Arnold go, and then you're just like, hey, boys, they're going to take your hands off. And then too when he's shooting the Predator, that's my favorite scene.
Even more interesting, this guy plays like 4 people.
And then he cuts his hand out, and he's still shooting.
This is cool. This guy plays like 4 people. Taib Fletcher. He plays the Alpha Trawler, the Bar Thug, Heavy Infantry Mondo, and
he played the
one guy, with the
big old gun.
That was dope. I love that.
Gun.
I love that they're going into like
their arsenal more.
Yes, and just like in general in the universe, because they did it too in episode 1 when they brought out the full one where he hops on and spins around like a hover tank or a hover turret. Yeah. Because you really don't get to see the laser turrets that much in the original movies, and honestly, not that much as far as I remember in like Rebels or Clone Wars either. It's just not. It's just not that prevalent. You know what I mean? So to see it here is great. To see the vibrating steel knives, which I can't remember the name of that metal that vibrates. Remember the ones where they have like that knife that he kills the bull with?
Oh, but I don't remember.
I don't remember the name of the. I'm gonna look it up just because this is. If any Star Wars people were watching, thank you for joining, Jerry. Appreciate you, kind of. If any people were watching and they were from the Star Wars group, man, they'd be mad at us for not knowing that. But yeah, I can't remember what the vibrating metal from Star Wars is called, but it's a very famous one. It's not the Beskar. The Beskar is like super strong. I guess they're just called a vibroblade. Vibro weapon?
Maybe.
Wikipedia? Well, that's according to the fan wiki. Yeah. That's what dagger does the Mandalorian use? Thank you, Google, you bitch. You filthy hole. Oh, man. I did not put this on the right side for that second guy's side. That's fine there. More decent. That was cool, the whistling bird. I mean, I knew what it's.
Aren't they called the whistling birds?
No, that was the other thing he did.
Yeah, I like those. Those are cool.
Those were pretty cool. I knew what those were gonna be when he had them, and I knew that they were gonna use them this episode if they gave it. I think it would have been. It's kind of sucks because that's really tropey, and that actually pulls away from the quality. In my opinion, it's better to wait. So like, if he got him this episode and then used him 2 episodes from now, that would be a better Chekhov's gun, because basically that follows the Chekhov's gun theory, where if you like mention a gun or show a gun, you have to have it used later or done something with later, or else there was no point in showing it in the first place. You just wasted your time. So that I knew they were going to show it, but I didn't think it would be like right there. Also, can we talk about a couple details they added in there that I really like the armor for the troopers. It's in disrepair. I love that. Like, if you look at it, it's all dirty.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
They look like they haven't had new armor or scrubbed their armor. Whereas in the old ones, you know, they were all pristine white and.
Yeah, because those ones are probably like the high elite, or not the high elites, but they were in the actual.
Well, they were in the main force, and you got to remember that back then they were in a active military force. As opposed
These
to
ones are in the gritty right now.
Yeah, they're. So what's it? So
yeah, no, that's cool. I like that too. Some battleware.
So it's this article's explained a couple of different things. Yeah, we already know the HUD. Whistling birds, geared for crowd control. Yep. I think it's the ambulance. Oh, nope, those are the gauntlets. That's cool. I didn't know the name of his rifle, so it's an Ambin rifle. But nope, I'm still not seeing the little like vibroblade. Yep, vibroblade. Yep. Not once but twice. They're pretty much what they sound like. Vibrating blades, short daggers, utility knives, full swords. They can easily cut through materials than a simple blade. That was the other thing that got me. I was doing the watch throughs, and the titles of the episodes are at the beginning, but they're not in the title description.
Oh, there's a few things that need to fix on there.
Oh yeah. I mean, half the time, like, I can show you. Do you get those the color palette whatever sometimes? Like where like glitches, like just fucking bars of. Here, let me show you.
Get that.
I'll show you real quick on the side screen. I have some of the recordings or whatever. I think I know which one it is too. It's episode 2. Oh, maybe I won't because my computer's not liking me. Okay, I guess I won't because the computer is freaking the fuck out. What the hell?
Didn't like what you did there.
Yeah, whatever the fuck I did, it didn't like it.
Don't do that again.
Yeah, I guess not. I guess we'll do that next
again to me,
time.
Alejandro. Don't you ever touch me again like that.
Oh shit. What else did we have to talk about this week? Man, there's not a lot really busting out this week.
Not really.
Oh, you know what did come out this week? In comics? Oh god, yeah, I didn't hear about that. I still haven't seen the original one.
I'll go see it.
I still gotta watch the original.
My son likes it.
I heard it's fine.
It is good,
it sounds good.
It's better because it doesn't take on the tropes of
typical,
princess need a man to save the princess.
Which is, I think that's
literally
why,
about 2 sisters.
Yeah,
and they're left
I think
for
that's
each other.
why I didn't end up watching it, was because, not because I would have enjoyed it, but because everywhere everyone was talking about that. They're like, this isn't your typical Disney story. I'm like, cool. Stop shoving it in my fucking face.
I think that's all it was, really. And then, too, like, it was a girly movie. I think that's what it was they were making a bigger deal with. It was a girly movie that did, again, not play on those tropes. Because, again, Pixar's done really amazing movies, but, like, they're just good story with a bunch of cast. But then, again, this was about princess. But the princess did not need to rely on a man.
Right, which is,
but again, it was good. It was cool, and you know what else I think made it good too was it did have another. Disney's good at that. They had a hit song for it.
That's really what that comes down to for those. Like, that's all I ever heard about from that movie. Even beyond was, it's princess doesn't need a man to save her, was the whole like spiel, and then let it go. Let it go!
I'm not gonna lie, that song's good.
I mean, it is the first couple times. The second 100 times, it gets a little fucking old.
The second movie, though, looks actually a little bit better to me. It's more darker. Have you seen the trailers?
I haven't seen the first movie, so I wouldn't know.
Yeah, the trailers look a little dark. That's what people even say when they first watch the trailer. Like, what the hell's going on? Is this Frozen? But it looks good. Cool. It looks good.
I mean, I've heard good things about it. I'm excited. I'm definitely excited for more memes, if anything.
Yeah.
Do you want to do some blow, man? It doesn't have to be some blow, man. Like I said, I haven't seen the movie, but I know the goddamn stupid
the
songs. Which is so dumb.
I remember going to Disney World and they were doing
which
all
is
the songs
fine.
too.
That's cool. At Disney World, with like live
They
music.
did the
hopefully.
Let It Snow song, but they like actually had the actors
Right.
on the stage and they
Yeah.
were all singing. I was
And-
like,
and
geez,
hopefully-
they're going all out.
And hopefully they had a band and not just a recording.
No, I think it was a record, but like that, like it was
Well,
loud,
shit.
like it was just like, like oh my gosh, again, because it was right there. It wasn't like it was like a off on because Disney does that where they'll just like just some like randomly
Right out in the middle of
just
Disneyland,
like
yeah.
and just like it was like right there in front of the castle, and
Which is why I would have expected. I guess I can see that.
they
being a
do
reason
have
for
some
not
live
playing.
bands for like they did for Universal and over there they had.
I just expect it from like. I guess I expect it from Disney because I expect it from Star Wars and stuff, like to have composition and big live music. Like that is part of what makes them such big cinematic successes. I think is the music. Like I said, Let It Go is probably 50% of the reason that movie did successful. The other 50% being a great story with no tropes and an original idea, which I was also cool with. Like I said, I it's so funny how I've never watched a movie, but I know about the movie because of different things like. Fucking Kingdom Hearts had that chapter with it where it's like
that's right. They did
which was funny because that is actually when you say Dark Frozen, that's kind of what comes into my head is that chapter from
I wasn't very happy with Kingdom Hearts 3 to tell you the truth.
I felt like
it was finished. I felt like it was like an undone finished
I feel like it was a rush. Like they were like, all right, but at the same time it wasn't a rush because we waited fucking however many years for it, so it wasn't rushed, but I felt like it was rushed. Because it's like kind of jammed all those other.
There was not a lot of like the combat style wasn't like very
fun.
It wasn't fun to me. It was just the same like.
I'm gonna jump over here. Bah, 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 bah. I'm gonna jump over here. Bah, 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 bah. Oh, that guy's gonna kick my ass. Okay, well I'll just block and dodge or whatever for those super hard missions or whatever.
It was not. It was.
I
the hype that I
enjoyed it. Yeah.
I mean, at least enjoyed. Finally, I was like, okay, finally. Even though now they said they're gonna do another one, but I enjoyed finally to be like, okay, finally, the story's over.
See, and that was my problem. Is like I love the first two for their story and the build and like all this dramatic like build, right?
And
like
using Disney characters too,
which was great. It was super great. Like everything about it was like you had the serious tone story with these dark tones with these Disney characters and these crossovers and good combat.
2 was the one that really.
Two's the gem.
I don't know why they
how they fucked up from 2 to 3. I just don't know how they took so long and didn't make any improvements. You know what I mean? Maybe they just overcooked the game. You know what I mean? Maybe that's what happened. Maybe they overcooked the game. They just took too long. They were like, we'll do this and this, and then they fucked it up.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't bad.
No, it wasn't
bad. But it just wasn't. The problem was, and I'll say this, it was the same problem of Batman vs. Superman. It needed to be a masterpiece. There wasn't like a question. There wasn't like maybe. No, it needed. It didn't want to. It didn't should have been. It needed to be a masterpiece because 2 was already. 2 was a gaming masterpiece, and you can ask almost anyone who ever played it, and they'll tell you that it was a great game. It just was all around.
Yeah.
The story's good. The play's good. The nostalgia factor. I mean, it has a love story. It has a fight. You know what I mean? There's it just hits all the main points, and it didn't. You know what I mean? 3 didn't hit all those points. It didn't. It waited too long. It was dealing with a bunch of bullshit because it had 10 other games to consolidate into a single ending, which I think really is what pulled away for a lot of it for me is like, one, I didn't play all the side games because I didn't have the money, time, or systems.
That's why even when I played 3, I was kind of confused on some things.
Even if I did, and I went back and did like research to figure out, I kind of knew who people was and what was going on, even with it, it just feels like it's all crammed together into this last one. It's like, oh, Aqua's bad because she was mind controlled and now she's suddenly good again.
Only one I knew was Aqua because I did play Birth by Sleep. That's the only other side game
and
I did play.
I feel like most people that's the one they played was the one with Aqua. But I played a little on the other ones. I never finished them, and it was such a small yet big piece that I felt like I was missing large chunks of story that didn't matter. You know what I mean? It was very, very weird feeling to feel like that. Where
I think that's was the number one thing that the story was just.
Yeah, it wasn't
hodgepodge.
Yes, because it was pulling from all these other things. Like, really, it didn't feel like a linear finished progression. It doesn't have to be super linear, but considering what we
2, had no other affiliations or anything else.
And then after 2, 20 different games came out, and it wasn't.
Yeah, well, you guys, you effed that up because you should have just been working on 3 instead of. We'll do a side game, but hey, you know what, guys? This actually has some important stuff, so maybe you should think
play
about
it.
playing it.
But we're gonna release another side game next.
But this game's not gonna be like those other. This is a card type fighting.
Oh yeah, this one's a DS game where you
like, or this one's not gonna be on PSP now, and are you like, bro?
You switched modems. I can't even do this. You think I got the money for all the games in the world? I barely got enough money for the games.
It was again. I wouldn't say it was bad, but it wasn't. It wasn't. Wasn't great either.
Definitely, and like I said, that's kind of what I attribute to Batman vs Superman. People are always trashing it, but it's really not bad.
It's not bad.
It's not like it's a 3 or a 4. It's just
questionable.
It's just supposed to be good.
Things. Yeah,
that's the thing. It's just supposed to be good. Like,
yeah,
it's Batman vs Superman, man. That's supposed to be a 9, 10 out of 10 every time. Like, how you fuck that up is the more impressive achievement than doing it right. You know what I mean? That's how I
only watched that movie once.
I've watched.
Honestly, there's movies I just watched once, and
which is fine. And I have movies that I've watched once that I thought were great, and I never watched again because they weren't rewatchable. Some things aren't.
That's what I was watching reading an article on. It's like movies that are only meant to be watched once.
Because there's certain things that are like, for example, Disenchanted. Right? I feel like Disenchanted is a one-time watch.
Yeah. Futurama.
You can watch Futurama again and again and again and again, and it doesn't matter. Because all of the jokes are non-linear, the story progression doesn't matter. You know what I mean? Same with Family Guy. Family Guy.
Sometimes I get a little annoyed with Family Guy sometimes.
Right, but that's the point. It's like you don't have to watch it in order, and you don't have to watch. You know what I mean? And you can keep watching again and again. You find one episode you like, or a couple episodes you like.
Yeah, there's a couple.
Right, and you can watch those again and again.
It's the one where he always has to beat up Brian.
Where's my money, man? Where's my money?
You got money for a fake mustache, but you ain't got money for me, huh?
That shit was so funny. But that's what I mean. Like certain things like that, over and over. You know what I mean? Because it's non-linear, there's no pesky story getting in the way of like, oh well.
Unless they do like a 2-part or 3-part episode, but that's never ever they do those. But
almost never. I think the internet's starting to give out. It looks like.
But, did you have anything else that you wanted to say?
What else do we have on the thing? Oh, the new X-Men stuff. Maybe any Disney Plus stuff you want to recommend to people?
I did watch Noelle. That's the one with Anna Kendrick. I like her. I don't know why. I just like her.
Anna Kendrick's not bad. Is she the one for Twilight?
No, she's the one that you ever seen that. What the heck is that movie called? It's that acapella group. And it's kind of like a funny movie, but they're all girls and they're like an acapella group.
I don't know.
And it's just like her name. If we could probably figure out what her movie she's done. Pitch Perfect. There you go. Okay. I love.
She is in Twilight.
I like. Oh, is she?
Yeah.
Maybe.
She's a side character.
I think I've just never watched that movie ever.
Yeah, it's like she's a side. She shows up for like 10 seconds, I think. Or no, she's like one of the supporting characters that I don't remember. Maybe. It's funny. I've watched those movies. I don't fucking remember.
That's a good movie. I would recommend that. We're gonna probably maybe watch Lady and the Tramp, that live action.
Oh, live action. What about old series? Have you been catching up on those?
I've been watching a little bit of the Gargoyles.
I would, but I'd already downloaded it prior to the fucking Disney Plus, like 2 months before they announced what they were gonna have on Disney Plus. I'd already went and got them.
The Mighty Ducks. It's really
movie or the show?
No, the show. I mean, sorry, I would watch
they have
that.
both.
Yeah, they have both. I didn't think I've seen the first one though.
The first movie? I don't know if they have the first movie.
I think there's some licensing rights they said for a couple movies still. So
there's absolutely certain things that aren't on there. They said they'll get
them eventually on there, but
this Disney we're talking about, they'll win. They always win. Yeah.
There's that. There's there's Darkwing Duck. I wanted to check out still.
I just I was playing them at work, right? Which I had to stop doing because Disney Plus kills my phone battery. But I was playing them at work and listening to them, and I forgot the classic voicings, like back in the 90s, man, and that was from late 80s, early 90s. Back in those early 90s days, everything was voiced by like the same 5 people.
Yeah, there was no. Yeah, there's
but they were good at it. That's the
seen.
other reason is they were good at it. Like you listen to him and like you recognize like the dude's voice, and I can't remember the actor's name, but he's the voice of the villain in the original episode, and he's a recurring villain. I even remember him now after having watched it. 20 years later, after having been, 20 watched that probably 20-ish years ago, and he's like a duck plant. If you remember that guy,
I think I remember.
Yeah,
that
the Dr. Duckwood. It was like green. And
yeah, I think I remember that one.
Yeah, and once I saw him, I started remembering him. You know what I mean? And it triggered the memories. I'm like, oh yeah, I remember this. The voice though, dude, he's that one fat guy from the 80s or 90s that had like that high pitched voice. He voiced some of the people in Fern Gully. He voiced that bat or whatever. I think. Yeah.
No, that was Robin.
Or no, yeah, this is a different guy. But he's
Fern Gully.
Yeah,
Fern Gully is a good movie. I love that movie.
But there was another, and I cannot remember the name of that actor. But dear Lord, man, they voiced everything and they did. Yeah. It's so good.
Well, yeah, some of the shows now we have days for kids are not as story driven.
No, at all.
And
no. Back then, though, they were actual art. You know what I mean? Story. Nowadays, they don't make them like that. There's a couple like that nowadays that are made like that.
Steven Universe, but they're very bubbly.
Right, and even then, like, it has the overarching plot and stuff, but I still wouldn't even put it on the same.
Yeah, that's what I say. Yeah, they're just like and what makes a different effort is just they're too bubbly for.
Right. Same with Phineas and Ferb. It has the concept, but it's too happy.
And we have Gargoyles, Batman, Duckling Duck, even at its times.
There were some real dark episodes in there, dude. That's the thing. Back then, they were not afraid to make kids shows dark, bro.
Yeah, nowadays they're very.
Like Dark Gargoyles had guns in it and shit. People got shot.
That told you it's uncensored.
That's cool. So I'm still hoping the creator wins his campaign. Yeah, he wants to do another
series. He said he'll do it for them.
I'd be down for it. I hope he does.
Even what's his name wants to come back and do Goliath.
Yeah, I was so laughing because I didn't know this, but the voice actors from one of the abridged series I watched actually got a job as a permanent voice actor. He voices Overlord from Einzugol.
You talking about from that show?
Anime, yeah.
Oh, that's cool. I mean, that's how people start off. Sometimes they see you.
That's pretty much the only way to get into that business nowadays, man.
As far as young people.
That's any business. But,
other than that, I mean, was there anything else that you had to say?
No, I think we're pretty much covered. I wanted to mention the new X stuff, but there wasn't really too much to go into.
With the
X-Men. Just the new X-Men era. It's just kind of slowly rolling. It hasn't hit any big strides yet.
I like some of the side stories so far.
They're cool. Like, it's building its own era. So right now it's doing the episode 2 is what I'm going to call it now. The episode 2 effect, where it's building. It's world building.
The dawn of X.
Right. Whereas the first episode has to be exciting and bring you in and drive. You know what I mean? The second episode needs to fill in plot holes, move the story forward. So that's what I'm going to call that now, is the second episode effect.
Oh, you know what you should watch? Actually, now I remember, you have Netflix, right?
Yeah.
Watch The Toys That Made Us. The new season.
I just saw that, not the thing, but I just saw it while I was scrolling. It had like the picture of
any of it. Oh, you should watch the whole thing then.
It sounds fun.
It's really interesting just to learn
gonna be
the
old
history.
Toys, right?
Well, no, they just did now more modern toys that we played with. So like the new season was Teenage Mutant
Yeah, that's
Turtles.
What I saw the thing on. That's why
Power Rangers.
Which is funny because
Pony, and then they did pro wrestling toys. And then the first season was like G.I. Joe.
Which I still would have played with a couple of those. Just not the
old. Star Wars. A couple other things, and then the season before that was like Transformers, He-Man,
also had some other
Barbie. There's a couple of things, but it's just cool that it just talks about the history. Like even to like what's funny about Star Wars is that when they were trying to do Star Wars, they were all in it for the money too. But they said, well, usually what makes money is toys.
Yep, merchandise.
So they got into it, and they were trying to sell this licensing off, but nobody wanted. Everyone just is like, this is like everything. They're like their little lineup of what they wanted to do is like this. This is dumb. This is never gonna work. And Kenner was the one that said, okay, yeah, we'll do it. But Kenner was like this all small time company back in the day. It wasn't even the big company it is now.
Yeah.
And it was because of Star Wars that they became big. And they were actually even the first ones to make the 3-inch figures.
Yeah, the little Migos.
Yeah, because
styles.
what happened is that the production had to be rushed for 10 months. I think they had to get this done, and so they said, "F it, we'll just do 3-inch figures," and it ended up being big. And some of the figures too, they actually just kind of rebranded them, into making them Star Wars characters like of old stuff they had.
Right.
And like even like they'll have like guns toys, and they would just rebrand it Star Wars,
right,
or something like that. That's the first generation of toys that they came out with, and it did good. And then after that, they got really big, and then they started making more toys and more Star Wars toys. And
that's funny to me because a lot of the big things like that start off like that, where it's like people won't touch it because it's new and different, and like it's a cool idea.
Well,
but
and you just don't know if it's gonna do good,
right?
too. You just like it's
and
a hit or miss.
that's the whole point. Is like you never know. So they always start off where it's like, yeah, we had to like. It's always some crazy stories like, we had to like go to this small rush production facility in Mexico, or you know what I mean? It's always just some random story like that where it's like, yeah, we had to do some janky shit to get it going.
Yeah.
But then once it was going, everyone loved it. Like I was like, oh, cool. That makes me feel better about my janky shit. Like, but no, I think that's pretty much all we got.
Yeah, so you should check those out. That's what I would recommend too if anybody wants to check out.
So
especially too, like you want to check your history or your.
I think it's cool.
Your
I actually had
a
book like that. That was it. It's funny that's the show now. I had a book like that was like toys as you were a kid, or toys backstory shit. It was just talking about like the history of toys, like where did the seesaw come from, or how were Legos invented. Shit
yeah, they
like
have. They do an episode on Legos.
The Dutch dude.
Yeah. Oh, they have this thing
With
that
the
they
wood.
use the word a lot. What was it called? When you watch the episode, there's a word they use a lot. There's even toy etiquette is a word for them, and you'll just hear some things. And you're like in the.
Well,
toy.
no, it's funny to me too because it was like those are like they expand your understanding of like your universe to understand that like yes, that's a whole subsection of knowledge to have. Like and things going on, but just like knowledge to have. Someone knows this. It's someone's job to know this. They get paid
what makes it
to be knowledgeable and even just in general like they talk about like the pawn shows or whatever. They'll have those experts come in like, oh yeah, this toy is from wherever. The comic book men show had the same thing. Where they're like, we have experts for this stuff because people give a shit. Like, anything there is to know is worth knowing.
Not maybe you do, but there is a strong number of people out there that in this, that love toys and love comics and
just anything, things. Man. Whatever.
Just anything, cars.
Any random German paraphernalia, Swedish folk ritual, like anything you like, someone out there is nowadays is collecting the info and doing, and that's just crazy to me to go from a time when we were kids where it was like, yeah, dude, find an encyclopedia and good luck.
Yeah. To
now it's like, oh yeah, there's a guy out there who can tell you everything there is to know about that and has it on a little floppy drive too. It's, not a floppy drive, but once again showing age. USB drive.
But yeah, other than that, that's pretty much all I had to say.
I think it's good. It's a good episode. We're staying consistent. Remember, guys, check out our comic memes. We just got a bunch of new likes today, which is great. We finally went up above. We got back to where we were because I think the highest we've ever gotten was like 814.
Oh, nice.
Okay. So we're back past to the most likes we've ever been, and we're going to continue posting more stuff every day. We've got episodes of Comiconvos coming out every week. Wednesday, I believe I have them coming out. I'm not sure. It's either Wednesday or Thursday. We might change up that day as well. Maybe switch it to Sundays, I guess. I don't know. But we'll figure that out. We're also still coordinating with Geekly Goods to figure out if we're going to start broadcasting with them or not. They haven't hit us back up like that yet, so we haven't really been too rushed to figure it out. But we'll figure it out.
All right.
So thank you guys.
And, have a good one.
Yeah, have a good one. Really, I think it'll start taking it more of a live